Good morning, everybody. I'm back. So this is day 3 of the daily spread, where we're going to tune in and intuitively paint or draw or scribble or make fingerprints or texture or whatever feels authentic to you on a spread, or if you don't want to do a spread, again, on whatever pleases you, whatever brings you the most joy. And today I really want to drill in to the authentic piece. And an example came up for me, right, where I have a local friend and she has let me know, tough love, that I need to wear makeup, I need to dress up, I need to make an effort in order to be palatable, right? And the truth is, I did get triggered by that statement because I happen to like who I am, and I don't think there's anything wrong with the way that I show up. I feel like it's me. I tend to be more of a natural person. I don't really like makeup. I don't choose to spend my time, primping and stuff like that because I am an active person, and I would rather have the freedom and flexibility to be active. And I think I look great just the way I am. So the fact that somebody came out of nowhere with the comment that I wasn't making an effort and that I needed to be, it applies directly to this artistic, creative journey, our ability to create in life. Because when we are taking that kind of feedback, it could be about art, you need to do this, you need to do that, or about your life, you need to do this or you need to do that. When we take that kind of external feedback and then use it to mold who we are, use it to mold the way that we're expressing ourselves, then we are going into people-pleasing and the archetype of the prostitute, right? Where I will sell my soul for your approval. I will give away my time for your approval. I will make my art look the way that you expect it for your approval. I will change my physical appearance for your approval. And when we're doing that, we are clouding our true, authentic expression. We are clouding our ability to shine as brightly as we're meant to. And I talk about this a lot in my Create Your Own Oracle Deck course, which is now free, by the way, if you feel so inclined. But I talk a lot about how when we're trying to be somebody else or we're copying somebody else, it takes all the energy out of it. So you only have your own energy. And when you're trying to pull someone else's energy through your system, it gets clouded and distorted, and you're not going to be able to harness the energy that's available to you because it's already clouded and distorted with all this other stuff. And so the idea is, and the practice of these daily spreads is to not try to copy what I'm doing and not try to make something that you want to be proud to show, although at the end of the day, even things that we don't consider objectively beautiful have the beauty of our spirit if we're really allowing our true essence to come through and just play and be in that clear vibratory state. So part of the goal, I shouldn't say goal because it's not like a finish line, it's not a deadline or something like that, but when we allow ourselves to play and get into that innocent space, we are able to create not just from light, but from source, from our source, allowing source energy to stream through us and catalyze that pure essence into something that's magnetic, that's potent, that's powerful. And the energy is the beauty, right? So it's not about an objective, comparing something to an objective, the words are escaping me right now, but I think you know what I mean. So it's not about comparison, it's not about objective standards, it's about how much of you can you allow to flow through, and how much can you suspend judgment and allow yourself to revel in each and every second of this exercise. And if you can get into that space and carry it through, and even if you can't checking in, now and then to ask yourself, am I having fun? Is this fun? And if not, how can I release a little more judgment and expectation so that it is? How can I choose supplies that make me happy, even if nobody else is using them? How can I create fully and purely? It's really about the purity and that clear, pure, innocent space. So with that, I'll jump down off my soapbox and we can do a daily spread exercise. Get ready. Good morning again. I just walked out to our back porch. You can see Stucky and Ronan and my setup. So I just grabbed some more supplies just to have a variety because I find that allows me to play the most effectively. So I've got these watercolors. Again, if you didn't see yesterday's video, I just took bottle caps and plastic water bottle caps, filled them with tube watercolors and let them dry, and glued a magnet onto the back so they could fit in this tin. I've got some watercolor markers, some more watercolor markers, alcohol markers, some acrylic ink. This is pearlescent acrylic ink. This is one of my favorites. I've got colored pencils, brushes, and I've got the Portfolio water-soluble oil pastels, which are really fun to mush around with or without water. They're really nice and creamy. So coffee I am brewing right now in my French press inside, and I haven't decided yet, but you'll know in a second, if I'm going to wait for the coffee to be done before I start or jump right in, and I think I might end up jumping right in. Alright, so here we go. This is, you can see I wrote the daily spread on this book because I'm making that commitment. So we could just review here. This was day 1. This was day 2 yesterday. And here, I'm going to get going on day 3. So I am feeling like starting out with colored pencils today. And not, again, planning anything, not trying to make anything, just really allowing myself to enjoy the mark making and or the smearing, if you're choosing to use a different medium, acrylics or something like that. I'm feeling drawn to use the side of the pencil and really make some marks of different pressure. You can see when I'm pushing harder, when I'm more lightly shading. And I'm just really allowing myself to enjoy exploring the tool and exploring the movement and exploring the pressure. And I've got a dog whining in the background. I'm using another colored pencil. These are the Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils. I treated myself to some nice colored pencils a few months ago. The Polychromos, and then the Caran d'Ache Luminance pencils. And those of you who followed me for a long time, I've spoken about this before, but I have given myself permission with almost every paycheck, at least once a month really, to allow myself to indulge in some new art supply. And yeah, I mean, not like huge multi-thousand-dollar art supplies, because I really just want to explore different media and different qualities of materials and different expressiveness of materials. But colored pencils have been my thing. And next on my list is the, I believe they're Caran d'Ache also, Pablo colored pencils. They are oil-based colored pencils, and I've only used wax-based colored pencils. I've never used oil-based colored pencils before. So I am excited to try those. So yeah, I'm just really making some marks here and allowing myself the freedom of expressing, right? So in my little soapbox speech prior to this clip, I was talking about allowing your own authentic self to shine through. You will notice you have your own preferences for materials. You have your own preferences for colors. And not just, there's a difference between looking at something, your preferences when looking at something, and your preferences when using something. So I highly encourage you to try some different supplies.
not that you have to do what I do, but I really love, as I've mentioned, just grabbing a handful of, you know, a few different supplies and not paying attention. I'm not planning a color scheme. I'm not, you know, planning an outcome. What I'm doing is giving myself tools from which I can create my own little platform. Now I am feeling drawn to pick up a watercolor marker. These are the Ecoline markers. And what am I feeling drawn to do? I feel drawn to just kind of make some marks here. And again, I'm playing around with pressure just to see what happens and noticing, you know, what I'm enjoying. And as long as I'm enjoying it, I keep doing it. And then I do tune in kind of to my intuition. And when I just feel like I'm ready to go on to another supply, then I will pick it up. Right now I'm really enjoying the feel of the varying pressure when I'm using this marker. I haven't used these markers a whole bunch. I got them on the recommendation of someone from I think it was the People Drawing People class at Sketchbook School. And I do enjoy Sketchbook School's courses. They've started actually to offer the live Q&As from their courses for free on their YouTube channel, which I think are the most valuable pieces. And then I've noticed that the course content, the actual content has significantly gone down and the prices have gone up. So I don't know if I'm going to keep taking courses with Sketchbook School, but I have, you know, I get something out of everything that I embark on, even if it's not what I expect. And again, that comes down to expectations, right? So what are we expecting and what are we, how does expectation cloud what we actually, you know, get out of something? So now I'm feeling drawn to make marks. This is a Tombow watercolor marker, so these are dual tipped. And I'm not saying this because it matters, I'm just saying this because I know when I watch videos and get inspired by others, sometimes I say, you know what, I'm really resonating with that tool, or that tool looks really curious to me. How can I play, or how can I see if that might serve me? So just totally playing here. I'm going to start over here. And I'm just, you know, using the side of the marker. Actually, I'm using the side of the marker completely. I'm not really using the tip. I'm just using various amounts of the side of the marker. And again, these are marks that I have noticed over time. I just really love creating these kind of like short or long, but like dashes in different directions. You will notice as you let yourself play, and don't hesitate, you know, don't hesitate to try the kinds of marks that I'm using. And if something else comes to you, or if there's something else you really love, even if it doesn't seem like a quote real art technique, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to do it anyway. Now this is a Mepsi brush marker. I'm feeling like using the chisel side and playing around with using the tip of the chisel side versus just the regular chisel. And I'm allowing myself to go right over the spread here. And that's one thing I really do like about this sketchbook, this Illo sketchbook, is it does lay flat. For me, that's really fun. And some people might not care. Some people might like the spiral bound ones because you can rip the pages out kind of easily. But I have noticed, again, over time, because I've allowed myself to play and try all kinds of different things, and even ended up, you know, throwing some stuff away. But I have noticed that I create more when I have something that I can use this way, use, you know, one page at a time, that I can flip upside down, that I can, you know, flip on its side. So I've got that down. And now I'm feeling drawn to pick up, this is another Ecoline brush pen marker, and just kind of So now I'm just using the very, very, very tip of the marker. And I'm feeling these scratchy strokes. Just enjoying. I'm playing around with kind of how light can I scribble. And I'm noticing that the marker isn't even touching down the whole time. It's kind of flopping around, and I love that. So I really get inspired by the unpredictability of materials when it's not, although I've been playing around recently with plein air landscapes and some other things, I noticed that I really, really enjoy seeing what happens instead of spending so much time planning what happens. I'm feeling like using, got a yellow and kind of this turquoise, which is one of my favorite colors. I think this is Daniel Smith's Phthalo turquoise. And because the colored pencils are wax-based, you'll notice that the watercolor is kind of sitting on top of the page. And so I'm playing with that too, right? How much water do I want to use? And not from a logical mind standpoint, but what do I want to try next kind of idea. And I'm really enjoying seeing what peeks through and where. And it's really enjoying the texture, and it was really fun to me to see, you know, with the puddles and the marks and what's coming through where. And really loving that. And now I'm feeling drawn to go back to that yellow, so I'm rinsing this brush out so you can really pick up some of that yellow pigment. I'm going to add a little bit of this other yellow to it. You can't see what I'm doing because it's off screen, but now I'm just going to do tap. Again, this tapping and splashing is another of my kind of go-to, I really love doing this techniques. And because I'm keeping these spreads simple, so I'm not doing a lot of layers, although that's something that would be fun to do, just offhand thinking about it, is to do, you know, a series of daily spreads and then come back and add to those daily spreads. You know, not necessarily another layer, but it could be another layer. So I'm taking out these portfolio oil pastels, and I'm feeling drawn to, oops, and that one broke, so just gonna smoosh around in here. Smoosh, smoosh, smoosh. And I'm not smooshing everywhere. It's not a conscious, it's just playing. I'm really just playing. Really just playing, guys. You know, what happens if I do touch the watercolor? What if I don't touch the watercolor? What if I go around the watercolor? And allowing myself to kind of soften my gaze a little bit so I'm not analytical. I get out of that kind of analytical, again, judgmental orientation. Just adding. See what happens. And the cool thing about layers too is besides the never-ending opportunity to explore, it's also super fun to see, you know, the depth emerge, because there really is a depth that comes out of being able to, you know, see and to stare at something for a while and notice what comes out for you. I mean, almost like an ink blot exercise where there's so many shapes and lines and colors, and there's so much depth that you really get to I don't know, it's like a self-discovery exercise as well as an artistic discovery. And, you know, the point really is energetic. I was talking about at the beginning. When you can get into these states of play, it opens up your entire life. It's not just art. It's not just an art practice. This is a life practice, a get unstuck practice. You know, where are you noticing that you're feeling stuck in your life? And then allowing this kind of practice to get you into that place of no judgment, that place of playful, innocent curiosity without agenda. And when you get yourself into that space, you're really able to tap into pure creation, your essence, and express that authentically and beautifully. And you know what I'm saying? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. If this is landing for you, I would love to know. This is more portfolio oil pastel, which are water soluble, and I could go around and smush more, but I don't feel like smushing. So we've talked about, I mean, yesterday I was telling you how I like to do fingerprints, right? And I'm feeling drawn to do some red fingerprints, so I literally am sticking my finger into this pan of watercolor and making some dots. Again, this is kind of my vocabulary, my creative vocabulary, where I've learned over years and years of play what I really love to do. And I find that the more I do of what I really love to do, the more this happens. All right, I'm loving that. Now I'm gonna wash my finger off. And I'm feeling like this is pretty close to being done for the day. I am gonna shake up. So this was ink. I've since put acrylic and what's called Flow Aid into it. And I just feel like shaking some dots of this kind of liquid acrylic that I've made onto here. And it does kind of blend in. I mean, it's a similar value, but again, I'm doing this intuitively, and I really like that, actually. And I noticed that a lot of my work tends to be more pattern-like, which is just an acknowledgement. It's not good or bad. It's just noticing. You know, you may notice that you like to create in a similar way. For me, I think there's like a rhythm and a flow that happens when I'm just kind of mark making. And again, you could use these for something later. They could become, you could rip them out of your sketchbook. They could become backgrounds for larger pieces. Like you could make a really large canvas with some of these. And they don't have to become anything at all. You could just end up throwing the book away at the end, because the point of this is that exploration and that joy. And just really getting into that pure creative flow. And with that, feeling like I want to use a colored pencil just a little bit here. And it's not even really coming through so that you can see it, but for me, it's really enjoyable to just kind of add this in here. And don't hesitate to post your creations in the group. So with that, that is going to be today's daily spread, it feels complete to me. And then I'll do what I did yesterday and kind of set it up on the railing so you can get a better view. All right, here we are. So it is definitely not dry. The acrylic and everything is still drying, but I'll give you a little closer look. And also the sun hasn't come up over the mountain yet, so we've got a little bit more bluish light. But you can see the different marks, and you can hear the dog whining. And just how much depth there is. And you can kind of get a feel for the energy of the day in a way. So I will bring you back up here. And that is a wrap.
Me again. I hope that was fun. And I don't know, hopefully some new insights came out of that. And I would love to see again what you create. I did start a free Facebook group called Create:momentum. So the idea in there is to start to create momentum, both energetically, artistically, expressively. I guess that's not both, that's including all of those methods and more. So it's a container that's going to evolve and involve a lot of clean, clear energy. So that we can create from platforms of pure energy that's not distorted with agendas or opinions or anything like that. So with that, I will leave you and I'll see you tomorrow.